Hello, America and humanity. This is a tool for ROC, Republic Organization Coalition, as a game of pantheism. Wherever this who wants to play it, any nation, put that down. Have the people in the where there's people stacking. There's a pathology of modern infrastructure where it was conceived practical by human fact cheaping nature, invisible but still discernible quality of value. It was as victims simultaneously made to be victim predators with that as the self value. What was here before our founding parents, before modern nations' parents, everyone was born already since semi-ancient times, since before modern nations' religions. There was criminal re-engineering of their what had been revealed before that became contaminated by human fact cheaping nature racketeering method that took everyone from the zenith as the peak of human education and understanding and quality of fact cheaping nature, because this is science that's native pure. This is exactly what the native dreams are about. For example, they say we're supposed to read each other's dreams. Native dreams one is this the identity of relationship to the ground and its means to bring evolution's fruits and gifts that is tactically denatured. Their culture that is not physical, that is why and how we are three natures of volume, individual grouped in together. So we can see that one identity of value progression, that is correlation, that is equality of free speech and truth. That is not truth is differential too. And truth is five bonded sequence natures as one truth, as one that is self-generating per science actual, where we have to people want to debate the debatable offensively with criminally foreign influence premises treatments, sequence treatments, victim reactions to this recorded in the zoning laws here across the globe. Distinctly involved with that was since before cars, forced with the tortures and slavery of our founding parents, fact cheating nature, let alone the people hurt most was in how they did that. So we'd only speak about that and only fake. No one ever spoke for true. What really were Jim Crow laws about? What really is it about when someone makes opinions about it? You know what it is? Shock and awe. And fit rolls with it. And then defend that and then defend that. Time and positions, each age of fact cheaping nature, each location, each identity of locations, ability to know individually grouped together, what people could even fathom, what could they get away with, what they do through needs to hide lie progressions. They couldn't fathom because this is sophistication here using identity to ground locations. Still the pathology of things, the scale of things. Boxings. George Washington had to come to Wethersfield, Connecticut, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War. Had to leave slavery, even with color, entrenched. Could only semi counter extort them, even with the French general's help. And this is with Madison's plan. And this is with Madison's identity stolen simultaneously in conjunction with needs for that, not by accident. Fitted to the identities of an identity of negative value nature progression that's all victims only capable are let blame on other things, others themselves. nature demonstrating how it's involved with the database relationships since before computers, that right to the ground. See, but this did this in layers against Native Americans, against everyone. Free speech doesn't mean let branches stay criminally foreign influence victims, but victim predators, as is recorded originally and still. See, but they need to pretend passions and emotions offensively because they're preventing the sequence shifts. They're preventing uses of on off their locations. They're just put fake recorded things into databases because they have to hide what they've been doing with areas, what they use people for. Already they had retired careers and stuff like that. Their kids in it. Then they get thousands of people with the formal evil, just like the overt criminal enterprises, not by accident, kept needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite lies, active, progressive, and identity racketeering ones. Now, so these are people interbranch, individually grouped in together, each individual of each branch originally and still, each individual grouped each difference. When it comes to, we're going to have American history, modern nations' histories. This is how we conceive it before our founders were born. And we know that was all database racketeering. We know that they had lie progression from that. Science reveals it. Because we have only opinions that are in collusion interbranch, needed to hide the same lie progressions with people online and with areas. Doctors pretend they had conversations with people, pretend they had little kids with them. God help the ones they had with things with. Their crimes with their patients and criminals before they got caught. Still further, they lie about what's interbranch recorded. These are Connecticut interbranch rolls, interstates, Justice Department racketeering, opinions, kept to keep each location, area, and state self-valued, criminally foreign influence, and nature demonstrating it, blamed on other things other than themselves. That's valuing statutes they know, precedents they know are criminally foreign influence. They're shock off victim predators. How to think. We admit this as once as nations. We use pantheism, the science about the identity, that is the value that is differentially, sequentially, each individual group and together. Value. Value is about identity, the identity of volume as identity of volume. As value is a relationship to positive and negative. Positive and negative in relationship to this sequence nature. This identity of value progression, the quality of diffusion we are as life. As value not stagnant as its value to itself, distinctly and non-distinctly here. When the more and more we go from its system, the more it is forth from here. Our value, least of high D's. Nature breaks down. Trees or fake, no trees or fake trees. Denatured soil, invested in more and more. The relationship between it, because that's like in relationship to zoning laws and like that, means to it. What means can we even fathom? This is the same pathology that was used for the tortures of and for the fact cheating nature slavery of our founders. The same people, I see we have misprision is into branch. I believe this is the right term, which is why trying to use the corruption. Then they charge people to like charge uses of corruption where they can't even have. In other words, they're already involved with secrecy, preventing mandated law, stealing people's identities to hide the lie progressions of our roles, of our interbranch roles with a whole bunch of other nations. And the same thing there and here. Russians, Ukraine, they don't care about their own. They care about them. They don't care just about money. They're reliant on all kinds of medical racketeering recorded. But you have to demonstrate that the courts recorded racketeering methods with them. And it's too scary for everyone to do, not for no reason. They're just fake recorded things. Switch names, forge names. So we get the attorney general now, though. And we have our founders' obligations to not just prevent things from, to bring that course of liberation that could know to defend liberty real, not stay breaching screens, tools, all locations, areas, states, identities of sciences, victims, but victim predators. It's recorded how fake branches bow and fall, find the seed. Admit yourselves right down. That's all you need. So this is what we do in modern nation. We have to realize the fact treatment nature, hostage of each position of the human fact treatment nature, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously, not free speech, all fake. Had people invested into sequence racketeering, had them involved with racketeering that originally and still knew that they made identities of database relationships only capable of having stewards, needed to misprision a whole bunch of people, needed to hide live aggressions. Categorical ways, sequentially against each age of fact treatment nature, each position of difference, which had a bonded identity of the ground, identities of relationship to itself, native pure relationship. They don't care about the kids. They don't care about money. It's not money. If you need to make money by spraying poison, having people sue, what kind of a sue? You're dead. We have killers as the ones with the sensibilities, not by accident, right where the homeless are and stuff like that. Not by accident that value. Oh, well, this is charity. This is alternative jail. Of course, David jail's crazy. They're in collusion. The people that train them, the prisons, I don't know, the state prison officers, I don't know, the state judicial branch officers. Well, that's what's actually recorded. People I didn't have class with involved with human trafficking, WFSB, furthering roles with them. This is worse than interstates too. This is what our side had roles with the trade center. Now, it's evidence. My sources. What are my sources? I asked online many times. They're lying about the substance and the sequence of what I said. CNN won't respond. CNN is involved with a whole bunch of sources of CCSU, Central Connecticut State University. Please help CNN. They're influencing you to pretend it's personal because they're pretending time goes on. You have to ask someone, so it takes a little time. Then it takes a little time more. They've been stacking racketeering acts. The people are involved right now with the campus further that were involved with a principal child offender. The same courts and people that put him away were recorded involved with him, with that racketeering, with them lying about what's actually recorded over wires, actually recorded in and off police stations by police equipment. Other natures of roles with motivations, roles with human trafficking, all kinds of sick uses of areas of each person in collusion 6 ways. They also use to pretend people have conspiracy theories. Offensively, speaking about people behind their backs to make them pretend they're in locations that they never were. Exploiting all exceptions criminally. That's why they can't speak. They can't follow mandate of law. And the lawyers, if you call the lawyers, they recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how they take collusion, make conspiracy theories, to ask people to fake words. Everyone pretends that they don't understand people. I asked to report simple rape threats and confessions regarding since proven principal sex offender involved then and now with two Mendez police, two Kerr brothers, insurance and people in their family, insurance police through time, a whole bunch of people with Trinity College. Charlie Bowes, I don't know his sister. I explained she's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, was brought in by and confirmed, but involved with a Chris Walters, people with Trinity College, involved right through administration since I was a kid, people involved with Eric Olson and Matt Olson, also with Trinity College, with racketeering, with courts, with the Facebook, lying about what is their sequences. These are also people with racketeering on and off the campuses of each age through time. Worse than racketeering, worse than war crimes. These are uses of identities that just fall back into the same sick criminal justice here and there, fake against innocent people. Worse, because these are people. So we're going to examine this. Then they take this and keep this all along routes, on and off campuses of each age and nature, on and off even fire campuses, medical campuses. So there's a number of people with the name Brendan Leahy and women in that family with the name Leahy and Lombardo that pretended conversations with me. So now the people are preventing the law, mandated law. People are preventing counters to what is our intercities racketeering acts roles. And with further how that's on off campuses, how they're using the identities of campuses, how they're using the sequence racketeering, where they'll lie, but they'll tell you the truth if you ask them the right way. And this is in relationship to racketeering acts, all kinds of natures of extortion this way. And many pray. They messed up my Romulus, which I needed for inter-industry, audio, visual. See, Campus Marcius calls you through the breeze. See, we have what we could do with the Republic Organization Coalition. This together. Now, we take a big place, like where a bunch of people are stacked together. That's a pathology worse than what was forced with the torture of not because of space reasons, not because it means to space reasons, natural and only existent. There is one system already set up, identity of the ground system, native pure. Its identity of relationship to itself. That is the value of everything I want. This is identity of relationship to itself. That is the value of means from nowhere. You can draw it, where and how everyone's worse than ignoring logic, polarity against logic, where people are worse than. In other words, regarding this with the zoning laws, actually recorded about our founders, not by accident. They're fit with sensibility of people inclusion. Shock and awe. Our founders, it's very, what's the only thing that's extensive about history is how this is from off campuses, maintained in a way to keep everyone juxtaposed to other motivations, natures, needs, issues, to stay collusion with what was already since before that. And as what is from off campuses, off database relationships, private simultaneously, interbranch simultaneously, intermilitary simultaneously. Military recorded, confessed, and demonstrated physical delusions wrought and criminally foreign influence, many natures of racketeering roles with psychologists, foreign and domestic. Former director of the FBI down, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with many in my area through his co-defendants, federal criminals, and other cases tied to them too. Overt criminal enterprises, people that had daughter in my grade, involved with my town's police chief. I never met his daughter either. Never had class with her. Whole bunch of people tied to her like a Charlie Bo, like a Charlie Bowes. I never had a conversation in my life. Sequence shifting with a John Mayan and with people with the Britain Superior Court and with them involved with database racketeering, sequence shifts, whole bunch of people tied to Detective Dillon and to his son Sean Dillon, and with Anna Dillon, with Interbranch, also with real estate crimes, stuff like that. The roles. This is how I could demonstrate you actually recorded how they have roles without locations. Because then when things unfold to those courts with many identities of judges, with many identities of police forms, people associated with them, they can keep faking recorded things into databases and self-valuing that haven't been done through time. They are recorded involved with crime methods. There are people right now actively recorded involved with sick games through kids, with overt criminal enterprises and with agencies, per them recorded. People that have fake conversations about me about this too, and they have conspiracy theories. Doctors, they have people online that threaten people not to speak this way. Hear me pray. Now these are people also recorded, confessed, like a Miss O'Neill. She's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with people from Newtown, um, Sandy Hook. She doesn't know the extent of it, but she's pretending lies about me with WFSB and with other people I don't know. And with the people I know and only know of barely, they're all involved with racketeering acts, whole racketeering methods against me and against EJ factory nature, human trafficking. Same people that are the only people to counter these the worst things, not by accident. So there's each identity, the ground location, they're using the human value progressions. To have them people's opinions right, so everyone speaks as natives. It was recorded that and how they have self-valued, already exploited, knew to make them do that, then they have to hide the life progressions, defend identity that never was is anything but a breaching screen, a breaching tool, and worse than a breaching weapon. So what we do is to make history understood in relationship to this method that came, knowing it would make and keep humanity incapable of valuing how there are 5 bonded identities of value. One on both sides, two on both sides that have also the other 3 nature share with them. The Trinity, which is how we could see the Trinity. That is the identity of value progression, identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that. To us, we are semi-nature relationship to that, while we are a complete nature relationship to that simultaneously. While we are more complete its system, 3 ways, identity ground, or it moves, it leads to 5Ds, force space nature transfer. That's how Anthony Wall, myself, that's why I call it. Now they have, you read about it, they'll tell you about rivers of it and stuff like that. I believe it might be 5 rivers. See, there are 5 identities of sequence nature. And this identity of volume does not leak. Like yin yang does not part, but it does not get smaller. It's an identity of volume that only gets bigger. It's it's not just yin or not just yang. And it's not just yin yang. It's one identity's identity of relationship to itself that is self-generating. This is my take. I don't. We're gonna examine. First, we have to examine. We have mistreatments of predicate acts. We have mistreatments of the physical delusions and of the criminal foreign influenced premises treatments originally and still regarding witch trials, regarding the judicial branch, regarding their roles with zoning laws that were involved with the fact, treatment, nature, torture, and slavery of our founders, and with color in the North, and that left out of the North and South narrative because of our founders lost to him as a contained sophistication like other nations, incapable of doing anything other but being exploited from having self-value, identity the ground relationships to the timeless identity of relationship to itself, the value progression. Only the extent of it is debatable. So we have, since semi-ancient times, we have what is not debatable, but with physical delusions, about relying upon criminally foreign influenced premises treatments or locations. Arguments relying upon that to defend themselves, like people that pretend to be prejudiced overtly. All kinds of different reasons they do, but because they don't understand. See, everyone's came through the sick campuses. Everyone's made to blame other things, others themselves, what it is in collusion against everyone, because it needs to hide life progressions, and it needs, and everyone it needs to use the means that was already set up before them to do it. All that was is manifest through in relationship to those crazy, crazy, crazy laws, database relationships that were simultaneous to the zoning laws, the physical, as this quality of diffusion that was criminal insidious natures that we have takes on such by our branches originally still can't defend themselves and afford understood with sanity actual and with truth actual, with sequence actual, the law, logic, morality actually. What is moral? See, when they sustain bad things, and then what happens to the identity? Like we're in areas where there are shootings, it is recorded that there are discernible, bonded natures of racketeering and self-value roles with them. Originally, still blame all the things other selves, all the negative value nature progression action. It caused from off campuses, off database relationships, and that kept not just riled up. And see, we have behavior, people lying about behavior, lying about what is actually recorded, as the people with the areas racketeering, pretending to record things, forging names, switching names, mail crimes, wire crimes, lying about that. Already invested careers through AT&T. through insurance companies, through schools, already invested people through the World Trade Center. So that's why they need to. So they're stuck. So what we need to do is have them pick one name in sequence because there's a guy named Detective Samuda who pretended he's an arresting officer of me, and with a whole bunch of other officers that forged names, switched names, intercities with them, further involved with other natures of racketeering with interbranch from my town, intercities through time, whole bunch of people with the CCSU with the identity of the ground locations, the identity of the sciences, influence from off campuses through time to roles of people, even all kinds of natures of abuses of children, and roles with database racketeering that is also with them through time on off campuses. Whole bunch of people tied to a Harris family. Whole bunch of people tied to a John Mayano. But and I never met him growing up. He was used to hang out with my neighbor, and then he graduated. Then I met him right when my car broke. This guy's involved with courts through time and with families involved with human trafficking, like with racketeering with state police, and Weathersfield police, with with FBI, and with military police, people on off religious spots, on off town line drive, involved intercities racketeering with this Demoro family with them too, with the Mayanos, and with courts, not just dozens of people from New Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts are involved with a pattern of racketeering against me, with people from New Britain that were involved with this, with confessions from people I tied to confessions of people when I was in grammar school. But that's relevant now because those are the people recorded now, further having faked conversations with me then and now, and their roles with officers forging names, switching names. They do this interbranch. States attorneys did this. Then they have to hide this because other nations will punish them because they have some stuff with DACA. They have a whole bunch of racketeering with them, with name stacking, with spreading rumors, lies, fake ties to doctors. Under oath, I never had a conversation with these people. I put that online. I thought they're lying about it. They're lying what's online with this Leahy family, with a whole bunch of people, dozens of people from the Britain Superior Court, a whole bunch of nature racketeering with them, uses of little kids, child abuses, identity, these games with the database now. They put a O'Neill woman in there and her daughter. They're playing games now because these are people with the campuses of interstates, even a mix with foreign, mixed here and there. They keep sick, fake leaderships, fake fake positive treatments as criminal cases natures. Never had the right to be legalized, even if that's debatable. They already exploited them, pretending criminally, sickly, hiding it, needing to hide it perpetually. Free speech. So we have breach this since before modern nation's founders. So we use the species coach and pantheism. Each person, when we're coaching the same coach, this is an identity of the ground. It's not a native pure relationship to itself. That's it. That's not. It demonstrates that. So we put the ROC, Republic Organization Coalition, into place. on the big part of the thing. And where we put with that, this is going to be the gaming system. So we have to, this is going to be pantheism too, though. So we have to figure out how we're going to get funding but without being taken over by what they're forcing. Connecticut media and CNN. They have CNN different because they have excuses in relationship to all kinds of crazy tortures abroad that are tied to their roles with preventing free speech from demonstrating what is actually involved with the interlibraries, town hall, Weathersfield Town Hall, the school next to it. Further recorded, confessed, and a whole bunch of people tied to a Dr. Graham recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with crimes with a principal sex offender and with the extended family members of a house in my area associated with this, and people associated with this John Mayano, with prosecutors, male and female, also with doctors, with forensics locations, as people involved with uses of that forensics stuff when it first was coming out, when they were involved with overt criminal enterprises with the areas through time from various nations, recorded how kept in collusion, kept needing to hide the same sequence shifts, finite, active, progressive lies, identity thefts, frauds, and racketeering lies. They pretend to hate people for reasons other than making up because they need to pretend sequence shifts. They pretend that they don't realize they have roles, recorded, confessed, and demonstrate overtly, simultaneously, insidiously, with abuses of the most of the forsaken areas, easy to discern in relationship to this, which is the same suburban pathology from here across the globe. Same worse than semi-unsafe, fake differences, types of jobs, types of tools, fools. By the way, who will donate my part of this idea? The spider. We'll go to this. The first, like a big housing project. We have to claim you simultaneously. Tactically denatured. We cannot leave out. Since before cars, tactically denatured couldn't speak about building any better. Couldn't speak about undenaturing the tactically denatured soils, water's relationship to them. You know how the ancients farmed? They made everything easier. And evolution because there was no criminal foreign influences. There were no criminal foreign influences. And how deep and intricate they must have made the ponds. So everything was taken away. Many pray. Actually, we have threats that no one even speak about. Some people they rely upon that for an identity to know that because now we're in how we can see right through. Not one modern nation is anything but an identity of negative value nature progression, self-valued uses of their identities, and counters to others that are also with this fluent through them self-value. You can't counter it unless you free speech. Now, not just we have people with our campuses in conjunction through time with interbranch databases too. And now these are also people in conjunction with through time collusion with military and with the family of everyone, with identity ground relationships in relationship to positive treatments, relationship to each age of fact treatment natures, treatments are positive. So they have no right to be undercover. They can't speak for law. They can't stand free speech. They are breach. breaching screens. One way redeems. What is that? Jim Crow laws were then, for now, exactly what they breaching tool they're being used for. To measure, keep, build, self-valued, exploited, remotely, liable, pretending anything other that's going to say and understand and have understood the worst, the organized crime method that was using in defenses of what is indefensible, and that in conjunction with, in collusion with that which was entrenched here as that with all these crazy laws, and then move. Okay, the life is a quality of fusion. It is a value progression where value is nature and nature is value simultaneously as identity. I tell its course alone, vaccines. So psychology will just start writing this, steal from me more and more. These are people from Trinity College, CCSU, that I don't know the names of. Also recorded, confessed, demonstrate how they have the courts, former director of the FBI, his lawyer, a whole bunch of federal criminals associated with them. How they have everyone speaking to others, and how they exploit that through time, which is relevant because you can't call up and complain something where and how the police chief's daughter, her extended family members are also involved with prosecutors with the child campuses and with the police intercampuses as the ones also with other nations, also as sick knaves. And it is recorded, for example, systemically through all kinds of systemic physical delusions that trace back to racketeering associated with medical families, associated with the psychology ones, especially. And these are the ones involved with judges, with forging names, switching names, crimes with their patients and criminals before they were there, because they had to hide their roles with criminally foreign influence, human fact, cheap in nature, used remote originally and still, all identity of the ground locations. Whole bunch of people tied to a Joe Aiello, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with courts with him and with them, and people he confessed and recorded, like a Chris Walters, a Chris Cullen, Chris Walters also. Chris Cullen, I only know him in one context, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated he's involved with crimes with judges when I was in 8th grade. I don't even know. I never had a class with him, never saw him around. He's friends with the house involved with the forensics clicks, and with them, with racketeering with other nations and with our agencies and with foreign and domestic military locations on off CCSU campuses of each age through time, all long routes. Now that's relevant because they're forging names and switching names. Their uses of their ground locations in conjunction with their crime methods, where they lie about what is actually recorded online, where they lie about what is actually recorded over the mail, where they lie about what is actually recorded over the wire crimes. While they're stacking these, while these stacking, I'm just using the word crimes because it's worse than that. They keep people needing to speak. You can't help if someone walks by and says something. And then 2 years later, that's what's in the background. I'm just saying that because I'm going after that now because everyone's speaking to others. And they're forging names, switching names, like deans, like a Dean Alford. And I don't know if it was really Dean Alford or who it was, but he's one of the people associated with former director of the FBI and Robert Luskin. Robert Luskin is his name, and Robert Chevrolet is his lawyer, involved with a whole bunch of people from my town too, with Farmington Avenue, with prosecutors and with judges and with people associated with this Dillon guy and with this Mayano family. He's got brothers involved with them with sequence shifts, with identity thefts, racketeering roles with evidence racketeering, and with child offenders on and off campuses connected. All kind of bad ways, all kind of medical racketeering with these people. Please get them onto paper, into branch, because they forge names, switch names, keep stacking databases with more and more people from intercities. Already, since before 9/11, I can't get one person to respond. And then when they brought in one time, I yelled, I had to yell. Yeah, 3 months after my father died, I had to, because this Kevin Dillon, he's got my new and past neighbors with a whole bunch of other people I don't know. I know their names now and stuff, but like a Rob Rodriguez, involved with medical racketeering, foreign and domestic, with untimely deaths on and off campuses, with evidence racketeering involving logistics plagues, foreign and domestic military, overt criminal enterprises, the same houses. People say, oh, and they make opinions. You guys are preventing people from calm defenses of ourselves. Now, this Kevin Dillon, this Anna Dillon, and Sean Dillon, his son, whole bunch of people that are on off the two-route highway where it runs into Hangdog Lane. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with them with racketeering through time, and then and now with a forensics location. This is also goes back to the racketeering with that same forensics location with the transition from Oaxaca to Rico. Those same people involved with the house in my area, with the extended family members further involved with them, with a Bob Chase, with people they said named Christine, and with a Christine Bedard slash Tardet, involved also with a John Mayano and other people on recorded, confessed, and demonstrated these intercities racketeering roles with the courts that are preventing me free speech by having collusion with the other identity the ground locations. Same thing with the police forms, former director FBI down. These are people recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the DeMoro family, with Weathersfield and with the Hanson family, with library, Weathersfield Library, Rocky Hill Library, intercities libraries involved with them, with like CCSU, Central Connecticut State University. I had nothing to do with these people. The only context I know them in were them self-recorded, involved with juxtaposed nature racketeering, identity thefts, identity frauds, identity racketeering, stealing my offensive. They coordinated that, connected. They in relationship. They're going to walk this way out of class. This girl is going to walk and say this thing. People associated with that's relevant because there's a Joshua Stryker I also never had a conversation with, involved with the deans, forging names, switching names. His roles with identity theft, with investigators, pretending offensively they have integrity through media involved with them. Please give up your sources. Have them pick one name and sequence. I don't even know the names of my neighbor. They're fighting unfair because they're attaching everyone to fake words with each other and with the people tied to them. I can get you all the affidavits you want. This is not debatable. It's only debatable by them with the racketeering acts and the databases now. With the racketeering method where they will lie about what is actually recorded over the phone, what is actually recorded online. They're coaching people. See, from off campuses, not just this is juxtaposed all the other motivations, like all the relationships that campuses have to the industries, to the policing of the industries, to the policing of the industries. All that originally instilled was a captive entity, an identity of negative value nature progression, maintained only capable of being further and further self-valued. Rolls with the racketeering uses all along South Steene Highway, right into Hartford. Same people, DeMorro's. tied to them, Kurz, tied to courts, a Delafair family, Mayala family, involved racketeering with Town Line Ride, people associated with a Pandolf family, people associated with around with them also with around the Samuel Dix house with identity thefts, frauds, racketeering, database racketeering, all kinds of child abuses, as people involved with all kinds of sick uses of positive treatments towards what really are all the value treatments needed to be made instantly in elderly homes. These same courts, their family members recorded how kept criminally foreign influence to keep them needing to hide life progressions, to keep them and having kept them left used remote. They need to pretend it's about their wealth while they're getting one of the natures of jobs. So we have to convert the human value nature system while bringing reliefs to it. The human fact treatment nature opinions are lied to by people. These are people involved with all bunch of nations. Russians and Americans recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with all kinds of racketeering with judges and police forms with drug crimes, uses of the identity of the ground locations. Then they make regular good doctors in collusion with colleagues that are involved with racketeering on off those locations further and further. Everyone's speaking through others. Before that was sophistication. This was here on the campus of Harvard Hospital. Still is the Institute of Living. Bars before the little townhouses. Trap just walked for porch into the street. Little pointed arrow towards the heart of Hartford. Fox, Connecticut News, on off that building, right before the highway. If we go down this line, control your mind. See, they're offensively pejorative, and they pretend you're pejorative. I get the rights to the Attorney General now. I get the rights to defend myself against and others against your roles with many on and off your location. Fox, Connecticut News, WFSB, location/S, intercities, WFSB. Now, I never had conversation with. I never had. We have investigators from off campuses. They use a whole bunch of people tied. These are worse than war crimes, leading up to and in the Trade Center attack, and with the investigators' roles with them, racketeering. Many people tied to a Leahy family, tied to a Lombardo family, involved with racketeering with the people with the extended family members involved with them, crimes with forensics locations, with their criminals before they got caught, hiding that, forcing that, their crimes, the people that put people away, with online too, they're lying about that. These are also people involved with such interstates. Now these are justice departments where they deal with like kids' crimes and stuff like that, which are happening in relationships to the racketeering with Sequence, with the racketeering with other nations, how they keep the identities of each age forsaken, where it counts, how it counts. They have the identities of the kids, little kids, of prosecutors involved with their parents needing to hide their racketeering acts rolls through time. They need to start pretending. Why are you bringing up the past? I've been asking in a straight line since the Trade Center to report a whole bunch of things. Every time I try to report something, they stack more racketeering lies about me. People that tell me I lie to other people. People who tell you that only know me because they sought me out, were influenced to to lie and then to say I lie because I have nothing to do with people. Now, I want to know now why and how they have people associated with the schools involved with this racketeering with my name too, and with little kids' names involved with them, with WFSB hiding their life progressions, pretending they had conversations with me. They use former Governor Malloy for this too. Recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They're playing games with positive. They're spreading sick lies through little kids. They're pretending to be integrity. They don't have it. They're on. They're with FCC. They need to follow mandated law. Get them to onto paper now, into branch, from the names forging and switching. They're not going to keep using their locations to pretend things are recorded like they did and do. And then have they pretending of it. That's how they use remote. Since so much time, sick. Someone can't even speak about the simple, basic things about American history, points of correlation. Well, can't agree with that. Can't accept free speech. See, breach. I teach you best. I'm not even a lawyer. The bar itself recorded delusions wrought, life progressions maintained, identities of negative value, nature progression, self-value, uses of that. Wicked! Wicked. It's late. Okay. So this is the plan. Republic Organization Coalition. We put this, each city, this is the pantheism challenge. Each city figures out the worst imposition group spots. Like say in New York, there's more than those spots. We give them the first, the one order, the middle thing. Like it's one part. These order, and we stack it, and we're also going to stack it against. Not, I mean, we stack it to reveal and to overcome. What I'm trying to say. Imagine the five worst, and pick out the worst areas of New York City, of Chicago, and we're going to do this to all locations. We're going to make this a gaming system. It's already set up. We just have to set up the identity ground differential module. We have to set it up as pantheism too, because we have to have the whole world on board. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Because this is a perfection of, this is a science, not to an application without the ground. Big difference. This is native pure. So we all have to train to be native, even if we're not. This way, sequentially. So we have to. How do you give them reliefs for that? You make. How do you give yourself? You have to make them be able to afford what zoning laws made, what pathology things made no one be able to fathom affording individually grouped all together. Only this pathology of home scales, tactically nature relation means to it. It's a trap. So it's designed for nature to keep demonstrating negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures. So it is no joke when this, with the devil cartoons, which we has to be understood first before you could understand how they did what they did to the Native Americans and how they were sustaining that. overall, to keep everyone blaming other things other than themselves and then defending that. Forgetting about that. This is you, this is looking for other. Yeah. What kind of sick? Think about that. What were they doing? They were engineering standing lipoaggression cover. Now they propagated the human fact cheating nature as a standing lipoaggression cover up nature, breaching screen tool, body of sensitivity, body of like our senses make us shock if we get to avoid heat, to avoid being burned, something too cold. Now this is the sensibilities of against correlation simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive means, and with sequence true. As the identity of sequence nature that is unto itself, the identity of value progression, the identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that, which is this identity of value as science. That pantheism is about each individual identity of value progression is grouped also and is simultaneous. The species, three natures of volume as value, wherein as and how it counts, where we are body of value invisible but discernible. One identity of value progression making more and more of itself. Where and how we can't agree if there's God or not. The ancients reveal, or if there's an identity of forever or not. The ancients revealed we are at least temporary / lasting forever nature. Now, I didn't read this. This is how English is really revealed to be taught. There are proofs that yin yang goes inside the capital O. So yin yang is drawing what can't be drawn because it's invisible. But it created the visible. It's because of its identity of its relationship to itself, and that can be drawn. For example, I will draw you the forever flower. Okay, thank you for coming out this evening, Roxanne.